Welcome back, everyone. Ready for another deep dive?
Always.
Great. Because today we're going somewhere pretty unique. We're diving into the writings of Megan Brown.
Ah, fascinating choice. Her work is incredibly thought-provoking.
It really is. She might not be a famous philosopher or anything, but what we have are her personal writings, and they are jam-packed with incredible ideas about love, the soul, humanity, even the universe.
It's like she takes all these huge ideas and just lays them bare on the page.
Exactly. Have you ever thought about how those things, love, the soul, this vast universe might all be connected? Or what our role is in all of it?
Those are some big questions.
They are, and Megan doesn't shy away from them at all.
No, she dives right in.
She really does. One of the things that struck me right away was how she blends her own experiences with these big philosophical and spiritual ideas. It's a very personal approach.
Yes, and I think that's what makes her work so compelling. She doesn't just talk about abstract concepts. She connects them to her own life, her own struggles, her own search for meaning.
And that makes it so relatable for the reader. Okay, so let's dive into some of her core ideas. What would you say are some of the key themes that emerge from her writings?
Well, one of the most prominent themes is this idea that love is the fundamental force of the universe. But she doesn't just leave it at that. She goes on to connect love to science, to math, to music, suggesting there's this underlying structure to existence, this harmony that we haven't fully grasped yet.
It's like she's tapping into a frequency that most of us aren't even aware of. And she's not afraid to point out where humanity might have taken a wrong turn. Like, she sees us as being out of sync with this universal harmony.
Definitely. She has some very strong opinions about the state of the world and humanity's role in it.
Right. One quote that really jumped out at me was, "The malignant tumor of hatred in our world is a taught process." Wow. What are we teaching each other, and what impact does that have on the world around us?
It's a sobering thought, isn't it? She's challenging us to look at the systems we've created, the ways we interact, and how those might be contributing to the very things we're trying to avoid.
She even says that we've kind of abandoned our quest for a reality where humanity can thrive. It's like we've settled for something less than what's possible.
It's as though we've lost sight of our potential.
Okay, now get ready for this one, because this is where it gets really interesting. She introduces this concept of a heavenly Big Bang. She describes it as a separate event from the Big Bang, a moment when all souls were interconnected at the very moment of their creation.
I remember when I first read that. Talk about a mind-blowing concept.
Right. It really challenges how we think about science and religion. Could there be more to the story of consciousness in the universe than we currently understand?
It makes you wonder, doesn't it? What if there are alternative explanations for how we got here? For the origin of the soul? It's fascinating to consider.
It really is. And then she goes on to say that prayer isn't just a religious practice, but a scientific process. What if our thoughts have a real, tangible impact on the world around us?
It's an intriguing idea, isn't it? She sees prayer as a form of energy, and like any energy, if it's focused and used repeatedly, it can create change.
It's like she's suggesting we all have this untapped potential to shape our world, not just through our actions, but through our thoughts.
Exactly. The power of the mind is a recurring theme in her work, and she believes we haven't even scratched the surface of what it can do.
One of the things that makes her writing so captivating is how she uses vivid imagery and metaphors to explain these really complex ideas. She talks about the onion of life, a spider web as a symbol of human connection, even a journey through the flames of breath.
I love that about her writing. Those metaphors make these big, abstract concepts so much more accessible.
They do, don't they? They give us something to hold on to, something to visualize. It's like she's painting pictures with her words.
Yes, and she's inviting us to step into those pictures, to experience these ideas on a deeper level.
Okay, so before we move on, I have to ask about the anecdotes. Some of them are wild. Like, she describes meeting Father Time, traveling to a utopian world with a seraphim named Isa, having a conversation with a mermaid about human unity, even visiting a wizard in fairyland.
These are some of my favorite parts. It's like she's opening a portal to a different reality, one where anything is possible.
Exactly. So, what do you make of those stories? Do you think we're supposed to take them literally, or are they metaphors for something deeper?
That's the beauty of it, isn't it? It's up to the reader to decide. Maybe they are literal accounts of her experiences, or maybe they're symbolic representations of deeper truths. Either way, they add a layer of magic and wonder to her work.
And I think they really challenge us to open our minds to different possibilities, to consider that maybe, just maybe, there's more to reality than what we can see and touch.
Exactly. She's inviting us to expand our perception of what's real,
Yep.
to embrace the unknown, to consider that maybe we don't have all the answers.
And that's a powerful invitation, isn't it?
It is. It's a reminder that there's always more to discover, more to learn, and that the journey of exploration is never ending.
I think that's a great place to pause for now. We've covered a lot of ground, but there's still so much more to explore in Megan Brown's world.
I agree. Her work is like an onion, with layers upon layers of meaning to uncover.
We'll definitely need to continue this deep dive.
I'm looking forward to it. It's amazing how she takes these complex, almost mystical ideas and makes them feel relevant to our everyday lives.
Mm.
You know, it's not just abstract theories. It's about how we live, how we connect, how we find meaning.
You're so right. And I think one of the things that really struck me was her analogy of humanity being bound to the same buoy. It's such a vivid picture, isn't it?
It is. It's as though she's saying we're all stuck in the same spot, going through the motions, but not really moving forward. And she connects this stagnation to our tendency to only react when a problem directly impacts us.
It's like we've lost sight of the bigger picture, the interconnectedness of everything.
Exactly. And she argues that this short-sightedness prevents us from finding true satisfaction in our societies, no matter what we believe in.
Like we're missing a key ingredient.
Right.
And that's where she brings in this fascinating argument about the role of both science and spirituality.
Yes. She challenges this idea that science and religion have to be at odds.
It's like, why can't we have both?
Exactly. She reminds us that science itself is a testament to the incredible creative force of the universe.
Mm-hmm.
She even goes as far as to say science is synonymous with love.
I love that. It's like she's saying instead of getting bogged down in dogma and division, we should be looking for the underlying principles that connect us all. We need to acknowledge the mysteries we haven't solved yet.
Absolutely. She even tackles the Big Bang Theory, suggesting that whether you believe in the scientific explanation or a heaven's Big Bang, both point to the existence of a force beyond our current comprehension.
Do you ever look up at the stars and just feel a sense of awe, like wondering how it all began?
All the time. It's humbling, isn't it? Realizing how much we don't know.
It really is. But she doesn't just acknowledge the unknown. She dives right into it. She shares her own experiences with the afterlife. She describes heaven as this place made of light beams and orbs, a place of pure love and interconnectedness.
It's a fascinating glimpse into her personal cosmology. It might challenge some conventional beliefs, but it also offers a sense of hope and wonder.
What if death isn't the end?
What if it's a transition to a different realm of existence?
Right. It definitely opens up a whole new way of thinking about life and death.
Speaking of wonder, one of the things that captivated me in her writing was her description of the natural world. She clearly has a deep reference for nature. Like she finds solace and inspiration in its beauty and harmony.
Absolutely. Whether she's describing a walk through a forest, a magical encounter with a mermaid, or just the feeling of sunlight on her skin, her words evoke this sense of awe and connection to the earth.
It's a powerful message, especially in today's world. It's like she's reminding us that we're not separate from nature, but a part of it. We are. We're all interconnected.
Okay. Now I have to ask about one of the more unusual elements of her writing, her descriptions of encounters with celestial beings. You know, seraphim, guardian angels, even Father Time himself. I have to admit, when I first read those passages, I wasn't quite sure what to make of them.
It's definitely a unique element of her work. It speaks to her belief in a realm beyond our everyday perception. It's as though she's tuned into a different frequency, one that allows her to communicate with beings that most of us might dismiss as fantasy.
Right. And so, whether you take those accounts literally or see them as metaphors for deeper truths, they definitely add a layer of mystique and wonder to her writing. What do you think is the significance of those encounters? Do you see them as literal meetings or symbolic representations?
That's an interesting question, and it's one that each reader has to answer for themselves, you know? Perhaps these encounters are meant to challenge our assumptions about what's real and what's possible, to open our minds to the unseen forces and energies that might be at play in our lives.
It's like she's reminding us that there's more to reality than what meets the eye.
Exactly, and this is where we see that connection between the spiritual and the practical. The idea that our thoughts have a tangible impact on our reality. Have you ever noticed how your mood or attitude can affect the outcome of a situation? It's as if our thoughts create a ripple effect, influencing the world around us.
Absolutely. It's
Yeah.
like whether you think you can or think you can't, you're right.
Exactly. And she talks about the importance of cultivating positive thoughts, harnessing the energy of prayer, recognizing that our internal state shapes our external experiences.
It's a powerful message, and it's one that's backed up by a growing body of scientific research.
It's fascinating how science is starting to catch up with these ancient wisdom traditions that have long emphasized the power of the mind.
It makes you wonder what other hidden potentials we might unlock if we could tap into the full power of our thoughts and intentions.
It's an exciting thought, isn't it?
It really is. Okay, another theme that emerges in Megan's writing is this importance of self-discovery. She describes her own journey of uncovering her true self, peeling back the layers of conditioning and societal expectations to reveal the essence of who she is. It's a journey we all embark on in one way or another, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. It's a universal human experience, this longing to know ourselves more deeply, to discover our true purpose and potential. But as Megan points out, it's not always an easy journey. It requires honesty, courage, a willingness to face our shadow selves, those parts of us that we might try to hide or deny.
She's very open about the challenges she faced on her own journey. Confronting difficult emotions, painful memories, learning to embrace her imperfections.
It's like she's saying, look, it's okay to not be perfect.
Yeah.
In fact, our imperfections are what make us unique and beautiful.
That's such an important message in a world that often pressures us to strive for an unattainable ideal.
It is. And by embracing our imperfections, we can be more authentic and compassionate, both with ourselves and with others.
And through that process of self-discovery, it seems like she's suggesting that we can find a deeper sense of authenticity, purpose, and connection to our true selves.
It's like peeling back the layers of an onion, as she described it earlier, to get to the heart of who we are.
And what's beautiful is that she links this connection to self with a connection to something greater, a sense of belonging to a larger web of existence.
Exactly. It's as though by embracing our own individuality, we also tap into a sense of unity with the universe, recognizing that we're all part of something much bigger than ourselves.
Like finding our place in the grand tapestry of life.
Beautifully put. It really is. Think
Yeah.
about it. She describes the soul as this eternal spark, this essence that carries the wisdom and experiences of all our past lives.
It's like each lifetime is a chapter in a much larger story.
Exactly. And each chapter contributes to the soul's evolution, its growth and understanding.
It's a perspective that really reframes the idea of death, doesn't it? Not as an ending, but as a transition, a continuation of the soul's journey on a different plane of existence.
It does. It invites us to consider the possibility that death is not something to be feared, but rather a natural part of the soul's evolution.
Now, throughout her writings, there's this beautiful emphasis on the power of connection. She describes it as an essential human need, a source of joy, support, and inspiration.
We're wired for it, aren't we? We thrive in relationships, in community, in that sense of belonging.
It reminds me of that saying, we're all just walking each other home.
I love that. It speaks to the interconnectedness of all things. We're all on this journey together, supporting each other, learning from each other, and helping each other find our way.
And she suggests that through connection, we find meaning, purpose, a sense of belonging in the world.
Like we're pieces of a puzzle. And it's through our connections with others that we find our place in the bigger picture.
Absolutely. And it's through those connections that we can make a difference, support each other, and create a more loving and compassionate world.
Now, one of the recurring themes in her writing is the importance of living with intention. Yes, she describes intention as a powerful force. It's a conscious choice to align our thoughts, our words, and our actions with our values and our goals.
It's about being mindful of our choices, isn't it? Making sure that they're in alignment with who we are and what we want to create in the world.
Exactly. She talks about setting intentions, for the day, for specific projects, for her life as a whole, believing that by focusing our energy and attention on what we want to create, we increase the likelihood of those desires manifesting.
It's like we're planting seeds with our intentions and then nurturing them with our actions.
It's a beautiful analogy and a powerful reminder that we're not simply passive observers in our lives, but active participants capable of shaping our realities through the power of our choices and intentions.
Okay, I want to shift gears for a moment and talk about some of the more mystical experiences that Megan describes in her writing. She talks about traveling to different realms, encountering celestial beings, and receiving messages from the beyond.
It's fascinating how she weaves those experiences into her narrative, isn't it?
It really is.
And it's remarkable how, even in those more mystical experiences, there's a thread of practicality, a sense that these aren't just flights of fancy, but experiences that inform her understanding of the world, that guide her actions.
You're right. Take, for example, her description of visiting a utopian world with the seraphim Isa. It's filled with such vibrant imagery, sparkling cities, crystal clear lakes, gnomes playing games. But at the heart of it is a lesson about recognizing the beauty and harmony that already exist.
And perhaps how we can bring those qualities into our own world.
Right. And then there's that encounter with the mermaid who questions why humans struggle so much with unity. It really challenges us to look at our own societal structures, the ways we divide ourselves.
And maybe find inspiration in the interconnectedness of the natural world.
And who could forget that visit to the wizard in fairyland? He gives her this jar filled with specific ingredients, including 13 strands of her own hair, and tells her it holds the answer to the meaning of life.
It's such a whimsical and imaginative story. It sparks our curiosity and makes us wonder,
Yeah.
what is the answer to life's biggest question?
And what was the wizard's answer to the meaning of life? Do you remember?
Love. Simple, yet profound.
It brings us back to that central theme, doesn't it? That love is not just a feeling, but a force, a guiding principle, the very foundation of existence.
Exactly. And it's a reminder that love is not always easy. It requires work, awareness, and a willingness to grow and evolve. And she talks about the challenges of forgiveness, the importance of setting boundaries, the need to balance self-love with love for others. It's like she's saying love is the answer, but it's not always a simple answer.
It requires us to be present, to be mindful, and to be willing to do the work.
Yes.
So we've talked about a lot of really big concepts today: love, the soul, the universe, the afterlife. But I think one of the most powerful things about Megan Brown's writing is that she brings it all back down to earth, to the everyday experiences that make up our lives.
You're right. She finds meaning and wonder in the simple things. A walk in nature, a conversation with a friend, a moment of quiet reflection.
It's like she's reminding us that even amidst the chaos and challenges of life, there's beauty to be found, connections to be made, and love to be shared.
And she doesn't sugarcoat the tough stuff either. She writes about pain, loss, disappointment, those moments when life feels like it's falling apart. But she also shows us how to find strength and resilience in those moments, how to lean on our faith, our intuition, our connections to others, and the love that resides within us.
It's a reminder that life is a journey with its ups and downs, its twists and turns. And it's in those moments of challenge that we often discover our true strength, our capacity for growth, and the depth of our connection to something greater than ourselves.
It's in the darkness that we often find the greatest light.
That's so true. And as we wrap up this deep dive into Megan Brown's writings, I think it's fitting to end with one of her most powerful statements: love is the only global equalizer.
What a profound thought to leave us with. It challenges us to look beyond the divisions and differences that separate us, to recognize our shared humanity, and to embrace love as the force that can unite us all.
It's a reminder that love is not just a feeling, but a choice, a way of being, a commitment to creating a world where everyone has the opportunity to thrive, to feel valued, to experience connection and belonging.
And it's a challenge to each of us to find ways to embody that love in our own lives, in our interactions with others, in our communities, and in the wider world.
So as we leave this deep dive, I encourage you to keep exploring, to keep questioning, to keep seeking those moments of connection and wonder that make life so rich and meaningful. And may you find inspiration in Megan Brown's words, a reminder that even in the midst of chaos and uncertainty, love is always a possibility, a choice, and a force for good in the world. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Until next time, keep diving deep.